for our Monday meetup, and it's the 1 of February. How good is that? I'll tell you what, it's the start of the shortest month, but I already feel as though we've had the longest month already. January this year has seemed like 2 months in one. A great big long month. But now we're moving on. We're into February, and who knows what this month's going to bring. We're going to start off today with a recap, as always, talking about what's been going on. Last week was a busy week. Got a lot of videos in. Instead of just doing the normal 2, I managed to do 3 videos besides the live stream last week, which is pretty good. Getting into the groove, getting it done. Hello, Dave. How are you? How's the weather where you are? It's been absolutely freezing here today, and I've got to tell you, I've put the heating on finally. It was way too cold for me today, so I've had to get myself right sorted out. Kay, how are you? Good to see you here. It's it's been a busy week that I want to talk about a bit of that in a minute. We had 3 videos. First of all, I started the week last week talking about my health. I did the video about my health last week, and I've got some updates for you on that. Last week, I think if you've seen the video that I did last week, I took the equipment back, and I got a phone call on Tuesday afternoon, the 27th, I think it was. And I had a chat with the doctor who phoned up from the hospital. And I asked her how I got on. Did I do all right with it? Do I need this CPAP machine thingy? And she said, well, let me put it this way. She said, the average, we did your breathing over an 8-hour period. And I can tell you that on average, you stopped breathing 42 times an hour. Wow. That kind of blew me away. 42 times an hour. So yes, I do need one of those CPAP machine things. And I have an appointment to go on the 18th of February and to get one. Have a mask fitted to show me how I've got to do it. To be honest, I'm a bit dreading that. I can't imagine sleeping in a mask, but we'll see. Needs must. And so that's the state with that. Hopefully, she did tell me that in 2 to 3 months, I should start feeling better. So might be feeling better by August, by Easter rather. So that was that. We also did the video about my 10 best songs from artists I hate. And I have to say, it was really fun to do. It was harder than I thought it was going to be. But we got there in the end, got it sorted. And I've had some good input from those of you that have seen it. And a lot of people disagreed with me. And I expected you to disagree with me, because we've all got our own individual tastes, haven't we? And mine are a bit weird, a bit poppy, if you like. And so I knew that there was going to be people thinking that my choices weren't great. But I was amazed at how many people agreed with me with a lot of them. I didn't get the ABBA hate that I expected. I have to say that. But it was really fun to do. Just want to say hello. If you're watching this in the replay, how are you doing? I want you to let me know that you're watching. Get yourself in the comment box. Put your name in. Let me know who you are, where you are. And we'll see where it's going. Do you know what, Jonathan? It's nice to see you, by the way. Jonathan, do you know what? I loved Village People. I loved them from the minute I bought a song, way back, called Macho Man, way before YMCA, and there was another one called San Francisco. I was a bit of a disco lover at the time, and I used to live in a little town called Ashford in Middlesex, and there was a record shop called Rainbow Records, and I started buying records of the guy in there, and yes, I bought that, and I love Village People to this day. I still have an album in there, and I have a CD of their stuff as well. So, yeah, good stuff. Dave, I would be happy if my wife would agree with me on that, on stuff. No, it was good. It was a good thing to try. I don't know if I'll do it again. I'll find something else that we can do another video on. I thought it was a fun thing to do and just something a little bit different. So it was a laugh. I didn't get insulted half as much as I thought I would. Chris, how are you? Nice to see you. Chilly Yorkshire coast. Oh, I bet it is. I'll tell you what, though, I loved it. I loved the coast when it was bad. Like, we used to go walking along the seafront when the weather was bad and all of the waves were beating at you. It was really great. I did enjoy that. Who was my favourite of the Village People? I have to say it was the cowboy. The cowboy with the big moustache. And I also liked the motorbike man. I thought the two of them, actually, I liked all of them. I just thought that was a great group. So, Dave, your guilty pleasure is the Brotherhood of Man. Let me tell you something. There is no such thing as a guilty pleasure, all right? And I'll tell you for why. Because we're all entitled to like what we like. And who's it for me to tell you that you liking Brotherhood of Man is a bad thing? I mean, don't get me wrong. I've done the old kisses for me thing in the past. But, yeah. Guilty pleasures. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I think that if you like something, you like something. And it's got nothing to do with anybody else. I did have a... James, hello. Donny, I didn't like Donny Osmond. Couldn't stand him, I've got to be honest. And I said it in the video that people used... I was 12 years old when he first came out. And they used to say to me, oh, don't you look like Donny Osmond? And I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Wish I looked like him now, though. He's weathered far better than I have. If only I had a sister. Yes, I had a sister. My little sister, Deborah, loved the Osmonds. And I think she bought an LP, the greatest hits one. I think it was called Our Best to You. And I can remember her playing it over and over again. She only ever bought one LP when I was at home. And it was that one. And it was the one that she'd play over and over again. So I've got to say, though, I have to say this. In looking back over all the years, I quite liked a lot of the Osmonds records. I didn't at the time. I loved Crazy Horses. I loved Down by a Lazy River. I liked We're Having a Party. They were all good songs, good pop songs. In the same way that years and years later, I hated Stock Aitken and Waterman when they first came out, with the exception of Rick Astley. And yet, given that time and looking back, they did some great stuff, and I loved all that. And that's a subject that I could talk about for hours. And in fact, one of my first 10 videos I think I did when I started YouTube was a video about Stock Aitken Waterman. Right, let me have a look. Chris, I loved Gary Glitter's music, and as far as I'm concerned, I'd still play it. I was doing discos, and I did a disco somewhere. I was in a club, funnily enough, and someone asked me to play Gary Glitter's Rock and Roll, and I didn't want to play it, but I thought I don't know, it's a great song, why not? So I thought I'd give it a go. And I was nearly strung up. You would not believe the hassle I got. I had to get the bouncers to come and get along the front of the disco stand so I couldn't get attacked. I've never played one since. But I find it very hard about music because my thinking is that there are loads of musicians who just never got caught, and we play all their music. And so I think that people get upset with the Gary Glitter music because they think that he shouldn't get any money for it. And I agree. What I think should happen, all of the money that he's entitled for it to, from songs that he co-wrote and the songs that he sang and all that sort of thing, I think they should allow the music to be played, and instead of him getting the royalties, it should all go to a charity to young girls. And then he gets nothing, they get the benefit of it, and we get to listen to the music that, to be honest with you, I still like it. Can't help it. Yes, Dave, you're absolutely right. You know, not giving a who what people think of you. That was one of the most freeing things that ever happened to me, was when I realised that. Now, what other video did I do? I can't even remember what I've done this week. Oh, yeah, small actions, no time like the present to get on with things. I thought that was a decent little video to do. It was something that came to mind. Steve, how are you? Are you getting ready for the wedding, are you? You've only got, what, 12 days to go? Yeah, I'm keeping check. I've got a question for you today. It could lead to a video down the road. My question for you, and this includes you if you're watching the replay, what's your favourite film? I want you all in the chat room to write down what your favourite film is, and if you're watching on the replay, I want you to write down what your favourite film is as well. Hi Deb, hi OJ, how are you? I bet it's colder there than I've complained already, right? That I'm cold. I've moaned about it already, and then I remember where you live, and I'm nowhere near for that. Good. I'm glad to see you're getting all ready and sorted, Steve. So, where am I from there? Right, yeah. Favourite film. I'll give you mine first. My favourite film of all time is Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. And the reason for it is I get choked right at the end of the film when they throw ball to each other. I get really choked when that. And there's another part in the film where Kevin Costner's talking to Amy Madigan on the stairs, and he talks about his dad. And it was a choking moment for me. That film was really good. Dave, I bought The Princess Bride on DVD not long before Christmas, and I watched it and I thought it was fantastic. I hadn't seen it before, and someone was talking about it, and I thought, I haven't seen that film, I'm going to go and get it. And it's one of the few DVDs that I've actually bought this year. Actually, I bought it on Blu-ray, but it's one of the ones that I bought for the proper money, and it was worth every penny. All About Eve, good film. Kate, Gone with the Wind. Do you know that today is Clark Gable's birthday? I heard it on the radio first thing this morning. Apparently he was born 147 years ago today. And I love that film, I have to say. They played it on the radio, the theme tune to it this morning. I've got the DVDs to it downstairs, and it's one that I watch on a regular basis, to be honest. I love that. Love that. Casablanca is brilliant. I have that as well. And North by Northwest. Both great films. Pleased to see that. Where are we? Well, there you go, Kay. I'm good at trivia. I hear all the rubbishy stuff going on. So, if you want to talk about bits of films, I'll tell you. Toy Story 2. I've never seen Toy Story. I can't help on that one. Harry and the Hendersons. Ooh. Cristiano, how are you? Do you know what, Jonathan? I didn't see Titanic until about 3 months ago. I'd never seen the film, and I watched it and I liked it. The score's pretty good as well, yeah. So yeah, Field of Dreams is a favourite of mine. In the number 2 place on my films list is a film called Cinema Paradiso. It's Italian. It's about, it charts the life of a film director from when he's a little boy, and it's just brilliant, just brilliant. And the other one in 3rd place, I'm sorry about this, it's Grease. I love that film. I love the way that there are people in their 40s going back to high school in America. But I loved Grease for the reason that when it came out, about, I was at a fairground in Enfield in Middlesex with, I think it's North London now, and I was 18 and a group of us went to the pictures, and I'm talking about a group of about 40 of us went to it, and we came back from the film and we were outside the pub near the fairground, and we were all dancing and singing the Grease. The memory is still vivid, and it was absolutely great. So I really loved that. It is a great sing-along film, isn't it? When I used to do the discos and things and parties and weddings and that, I used to get asked for Grease Megamix quite a lot. So yeah, there was The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. I haven't seen that. I'll have to have look that one up. I love it when people tell me films I haven't seen, because then I can go on the hunt to see something new. Yeah, the lyrics are a bit dodgy in Grease, especially Grease Lightning, isn't it? That's the one. Give us a bit of Summer Nights, You Are Joking. I sing for no one. I did karaoke once in my lifetime, and I absolutely murdered James Ingram's song 100 Whites, because I can't sing, and you have to be able to sing that. And I was so particularly bad. You couldn't make Grease again, no, but it stands up really well, doesn't it? It's lasted so long, and it's been a great film. And do you know what? I watched it over Christmas again, and it doesn't age. It still holds up as a good fun film. I've not seen Grease 2. I do it in the safety of my own house. I have to tell you, Debs calls me Joey Falsetto. That's her name. Once I start singing, she calls me Joey Falsetto, because apparently I do a bit of the Barry Gibbs and go up there. So I really am. We have this tradition, me and Debs. Whenever it's anyone's birthday, we sing Happy Birthday, and I always sing it as out of tune as I can. And it's something to listen out for. Right, let's have a look at good, bad, and odd. Right, good news for me this week is I was talking to my sister yesterday, and my brother-in-law went in for tests. He had bladder cancer, and they've done this was a couple of years ago, and they've just done the most recent tests, and he's all clear again. So that's about the best thing I could have heard this week. Bad thing, I did a video the other week saying that I'm going to push this year and try and hit 50,000 subscribers. And the only thing that's happened since I did that video is I've lost subscribers. So I am now, I think it's 8 subscribers less than when I put the video out last week or something. So that wasn't a great move, was it? And bad news for me, I don't normally go in for it, but I was quite choked, I think, when I heard Catherine O'Hara had died the other day, because as Moira Rose in Schitt's Creek, she was absolutely stunningly brilliant. Absolutely loved that. Hungary, sir. Well, Is your name? Do I call you Richard? Welcome along. Pleased to have you join us. Everybody in the chat room, say hello. You know the rules. Welcome along. It's nice to have you with us. So yeah, it was a bit. I was a bit disappointed and sad at Moira Rose no longer being with us. That was a bit different, and she was, for me, Moira made the whole show. Everybody was good in their way, but Moira just stood out totally. And it's a program that I've watched over and over again. I just think it's the premise of it is good, but she is so far out there that it's just unbelievable and odd. Are you like me in this way, that I watch a program on the telly called Ben Fogle, New Lives in the Wild, and I watch it regularly. I like it a lot, but it's something that I would never do in a million years. And I find it odd that that's the kind of thing that I like to watch on the telly. It's always, I'm amazed at the people that do it. I think they're really brave that go out and do that kind of thing and go and choose to live miles from anywhere. I watched one yesterday, and he lives in the south of Utah, and there's like nothing, no town within like 70 or 80 miles of him, and he lives completely on his own out in the wild. And you just think to yourself, wow, why would you want to do that? And so yeah, that's, I kind of find that a bit odd. So what have we got for this week? I started off this morning. I've done another video this morning, which will go out tomorrow. And the premise of the video is that it's an odd way how it came into my thought patterns. The other night I watched a film. I watched the film The Bucket List with Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. And it's a decent film, and I get the premise of doing it before you kick the bucket, doing all these best things in life. But it's never been something that struck me as something that I've wanted to do. I've never had a bucket list, never wanted to write one. I know loads of people who've got loads, and they, I know so many people who spend their life trying to get one high after another. They'll go on holiday abroad. And what I can remember it when I was on Facebook, they'd go away, they'd save all this money to go on holiday to somewhere really nice, and then they'd spend all the time abroad taking photos of it and putting them on Facebook. So half the time they was on holiday, they was looking at Facebook instead of looking at the beautiful place they was living. Never could understand that. And so the Bucket List, while it seems it is a good film, I enjoyed it, no doubt about it, but it's not something I wanted to do. That was on Saturday. And then yesterday, I'm looking at my homepage on here, and there's a video about someone, and he's talking about the bucket list and a thing called the reverse bucket list. And I watched the video, and this guy was talking about a lot of the things that, if you've seen plenty of my videos, you will know that I talk about stuff like things that happened to us years ago that we didn't think we could overcome, and we did, and we can look back now and say how good they were. And he was talking about that, and he gives it a name in the video, things like that. And he was also talking about things that I talk about, a gratitude list, and he talks about another type of list, and it covers all of those sorts of things. It was just a brilliant video, and it gave me so much to think about. And this morning I got up and thought, you know what, I'm going to make a kind of response to that video. So that's the video that I did this morning. And in the video, I have linked the video that I watched the day before. And if you watch my video, then go and watch his one as well, because he's far more eloquent than I am. and it's just a really good video, and he says a lot of sense, and I thought it was just great, and so that's one of the videos I did. I want to do 2 more this week. I'm trying to get back into regularly posting videos as I used to. I kind of dropped away from that. I don't know why, but towards the back, I think it's probably because I was ill last year, wasn't I? And that the back end of it, I kind of sort of lost my way, and so I'm trying to get back into the groove with doing videos. And I've started this last week, actually. I've started brainstorming names for videos and trying to come up with 10 a day, in the hope that I can find one worth doing and turning into a video. So I've got this book here that I've got loads. These are all titles for videos. 99% of them that I will never make, because when you start brainstorming, you just talk, any roll rubbish comes out. Now, don't say that's what you normally do. I know what you like. So, yeah, I'm trying to do more of that. I want to do more. And I also, I love the hole in my bucket going on in the chat room. I'm kind of just watching outside. I want to see if you get around to doing the whole song. I think either OJ or Deb started it. Chris has answered. Steve's come up with the next line. I'm waiting to see if you can do the whole. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Eliza, and put it on the end there. No, Dave, I don't understand that. Why people, when I've been on holiday, I will take photos like you do on holiday, but I don't look at my phone is turned off the whole time when I go on holiday, and I don't put it on till I get home. And so no, I don't understand the rushing to get photos on Facebook and that. I haven't looked at Facebook. I've been off Facebook now since August last year. And I have to say, I don't really miss it, to be honest with you. I started a Substack account, and I end up reading loads of things on there. I think that's really good. Oh, I'm loving this. So yeah, I've been brainstorming titles. So, as well as films, if you've got any ideas of videos that you would like me to do, then also put them in here, because tomorrow I'm going to rewatch this and read all down the comments, and I'll write it into my little book, because I can never keep it up to date when you're speaking in the chat room. But this year, I've talked about this before with videos and things. I kind of want to change a few things. I'm not a gardener. I have someone come and do it. My future son-in-law is brilliant. He came just before Christmas and ripped out all the trees down the side of my house around the back, because it was just overgrown. They were going all in the wrong direction, and it was awful. So he's took all of the trees out. He's seeded all down the side of the house, and he's going to do parts of the rest of it once the weather turns. So as gardening is concerned, you ain't going to see me do that. To be honest with you, Jonathan, at the moment, I couldn't even push the lawnmower. I've got a petrol lawnmower, and I'm not sure I've got the energy at this moment in time to even pull it to start it. So there's no way that I'm going to be doing anything like that for the moment. I'm really enjoying watching you guys having a ball doing your. There's a hole in my bucket. It's growing. It's getting there. So yeah, we've got a few things going on. Let's have a look. These were my notes for this. I hate to say it, we're not even halfway through. I've used them all. So, So I've got to find something to talk about. For one sand, free cement. Do you know what? I would love to cement the garden and make it a paved garden. However, I rent my house, so I can't. But they allow me the freedom of doing some things, but we definitely can't cement out of the garden. I would have a patio out the back of it, there's no doubt. And I would probably sit in the garden more if that was the case. Speaking of getting out and about again, my hope, once I get this mask thing going, and hopefully start to get better, I can't wait to get out and start doing videos outside again. Because at this precise moment in time, I'm kind of stuck in the house, and I'm finding it pretty boring. Like, it's like a prison at the moment. I only get out of here probably once or twice a week to go shopping, and I don't feel physically fit enough to go out walking too far in a minute. So I'm still in that sort of position. Hopefully, we're going to be turning a corner over the next few months, and I'll be out and about again. But what I am going to try and do this year is get out and do more videos than I have been doing. I like the fact of being outside and seeing different things. I know I walk around our estate a bit, but it would be nice to go out and about and take trips out and do videos while we're out and about. Still talking about the normal things, but with a nicer background. You know what I mean? I mean, you must be sick of being in this room, because I certainly am. I spend far too much time in here, and I'd like to be out and about doing videos outside. So that's something that I'm looking forward to doing. Where are we looking? Where am I looking? So we've run it. We've finished with the song, have we now? So yeah, this year is going to be a bit different. Yes, Deb, I've kind of only seem to get stuck to the same sort of area at the moment. And last year I did. The problem with our village is that around the outside of it is like a ring road that goes around the village. And one side of it is an industrial estate, so you kind of see lorries and all that sort of thing going about. But we're not a village in the way that I think of a village, an old-fashioned village. But there are a couple around here. One where I lived before I moved into the house here, and it's got some nice little churches, and it's a proper village. Nice old houses and things. And so I'd like to get out and do more of that. There's a few parks that I quite enjoy doing videos from. It's nice to get into Cambridge in the summer when you're walking alongside the river and that, and there's people doing all of the the yachts and the rowing and all that sort of stuff. You see all of that along the river, and it's really quite nice to see people going about their normal days there. So I'd probably do more videos from there once I'm up and about and fit again. So yeah, I'd like to go out and do a few more beach runs this year, because I do like the coast. It's where my heart belongs, really, is at the coast. So we'll try and do more coastal videos over the course of this year. Where did I first meet Debs? On the phone, really, Jonathan. Hi, Dale. How are you? Hope you're well. Have you had a chance to watch the video about the top 10 songs by the artists I hate? I did a video about that in the week. When did I first meet Debs? On the phone. I was doing radio on an online radio station called More for Radio, and Debs was the promo lady for it. And I got asked by Shack Attack when I very first joined the station. One of the members of Shack Attack asked me if I'd like to interview them, and I didn't want to jump the boat, so I got hold of Deb on the phone and spoke to Debs, and that was how I met her. We didn't start seeing each other for yonks. It was pretty much a goodly while before that, I'd moved up here. Deb's lived up here, and when my marriage had broken up, I moved up this way because I wanted to be more central to get to do what I was doing for a living, which was doing soul events and discos and all that sort of stuff. And where I lived at Weymouth, you're surrounded by sea for half of it. So half of it, you've only got half of the complete way around you to go and earn a living. And Cambridge is not far from anywhere. So I'd chosen to move here. I knew Cambridge well because I used to travel around here on fairgrounds back in the early 80s. And so that's how I moved up here. And Deb's lived here, and she used to come and help me get my she used to come and help me get my discos booked and that, and she was very good at all of the paperwork. So I employed her for a little while, and our friendship grew over the time. Do I believe in love at first sight? It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Nah, not really. Not really, because I'll tell you that you do, Kate. The problem that I find is that all the girls that I'd have fallen in love at first sight with would have thought I was too ugly. Chris met his wife in the Millennium Dome, eh? God, that was back in the day. I never went there once. And I've never been there since it's been the O2. Right. So yeah, so what do we want to talk about for this last 25 minutes? Come on, I'm leaving it up to you guys. You can start the chat and we'll go from there. Or I can find one of my wizard ideas. I've got a few video ideas that I'd like to do. I've got some more music ones. Favourite song without you? What, Nielsen? Good record. My favourite song, and I'm toying with two at the moment. I've had one that's been a favourite song since I was a little boy. And I've got a second favourite song that I've loved pretty much as long. And the one that I've had as my favourite song for years and years is Jackie Wilson's To Be Loved from 1958. It was on one of my dad's reel-to-reel tapes. And I don't know why, even as a little boy, I loved it. I just loved it. Jackie Wilson's voice. I thought it was brilliant. And the other one that is like that, but whether I love it more at the moment, is a song from 1962 by Ruby and the Romantics called Our Day Will Come. And that's one that I love. My brother had it as a single when I was a little boy, and he used to play it, and I really, really like that as well. So they're kind of the two. Yes, I know that, Jonathan. I think I've got it on a single somewhere. I'm not a lover of meatloaf, Chris. You may have spotted that from my video in the week. Meatloaf didn't really do it for me. He shouted too much for me. And the songs that he did that were written by John Steinman, I thought were fantastic. Jim Steinman was a great songwriter, and he wrote and he sang very well. I got an album of his. It's called Back for Good. I can't remember now. That was really good. The Sweet were great. I loved the Sweet. I can remember them. Do you remember when we were young, Steve, and Blockbuster was the big thing? I got a claim to the fame where Sweet are concerned. My sister had her first son in St. Peter's Hospital at Chertsey. And in the next bed was the lead singer of Sweet's wife, and she had their baby on the same day as my sister. That's my claim. That's my Sweet claim to fame. Cool. These are flying a bit. Let me have a look. Anything by Dan Fogelberg? Yeah, I like Dan Fogelberg. In fact, if I can remember rightly, I'm just going to check this now. I know we had a Dan Fogelberg. Is it longer? I think it might be longer. We had done that as one of our wedding songs. Deb, we had Dan Fogelberg as one of our wedding songs. We had 5 wedding songs. We had Steal Away Tonight by Barbara McNair. We had Dance Me to the End of Love by Leonard Cohen. We had Longer by Dan Fogelberg. And off the top of my head, I can't remember the other 2. I will get shot if I ever told them that I can't remember the other 2. But we had 5 songs, and they were 3 of them. What's next? What's it? Decorate My Life by Kenny Rogers. I don't know that one. I'll have to look at that. Favorite album cover. My favorite album cover is this one. Where is it? That's my favorite album cover because it's my favorite album. Best album I've ever heard. I bought it on the very first day it came out in 1996, and I've loved it since the minute I put it on the record player. That's my favorite record cover. Oh, Dave, that must have been some special thing for him to be in the same class as Noddy Holder of Slade. Loved Slade when I was a kid. Boring Bits, yeah. They were an exceptionally good band, Sweet was. I've just pulled up my database. You may have seen on my community post the other day that I've got a database that I'm still finishing with all my music from what I've got on records and CDs and that. And Sweet are one of those. Let me have a look. Part of the glam rock era. The glam rock was brilliant. I have to say, Sweet, T-Rex were excellent. I love the Glitter Band though. The Glitter Band on their own did some great records. Angel Face and Let's Get Together Again. I remember buying the LP Rock and Roll Dudes when they kind of broke away from Gary Glitter, but they were very good. There was some good stuff about that era. Slade were top notch all the time. Teenage Rampage was another good one, wasn't it? Let me have a look, see if I can pull my Sweet records up here. Right, Teenage Rampage. That got to number 2, Steve. You're right. That got to number 2. They had Papa Joe was a good one. In fact, I heard one of them. I heard that Coco. That was another good record of theirs. They made some great stuff, Sweet. I'm just having a look down here. There's Ballroom Blitz. There's Blockbuster, Coco, Fun in the Sun, Hellraiser, Little Willie, Love Is Like Oxygen. Oh man, some great stuff. Papa Joe, 16s, Teenage Rampage, Wigwam Bam. Cool, didn't they make some great records? I did like Sweet. They had, let me have a look. I can quick run down here. Coco was a number 2. Fox on the Run was a number 2. Teenage Rampage was number 2. And then they had obviously Blockbuster was a number 1. Sweet were great. Hello, Amy. Nice to see you in the room. Thank you for coming. Yeah, there was some great music in the early 70s. I suppose people of my age were very lucky. We were born into an era where there were some really good songs. God, I hated Oh Superman. No, you didn't like that, did you? Oh Superman. Oh my God, it was like I could never work out. I never worked out. It was a bit, and I'll tell you another one was that I could never make out. That was like a bit like that. That Carpenter's one, was it? Calling occupants from interplanetary craft. That was it. Action. That was 75 or 76. You're right, Steve. Action was 75. Got to number 15 in the chart. This is where you all find out that I'm a geek. I'm a proper nerd. Since I started converting my music over from records and CDs to MP3s so I could play them much easier, I've kept this database that is on my computer, and I keep on the details that I keep. There is a folder which the MP3 is in. There's a title, the artist, category, the year, the time, and a UK chart number and a US chart number if I could get it. I am a proper geek, and I didn't realize I was a geek until I took some records in to a hospital radio station in Weymouth when I first moved there, and donated a load of records. And the guy who was the chairman of the station invited me in to have a look around the studio. And they had all of the records in the racks, and they had a computer sitting next to it. So with this little database, and I never forgot it. And when I started converting my music over so that I had copies of it on MP3, I started doing this database. So I became a librarian. I think I could have been a good librarian, because I really enjoy it. The 70s was a great era for records, Dale, to be honest with you. From all that, you had prog rock, which wasn't my bag, but my brother quite liked it. He'd been a Motown fan in the 60s, and he saw the Motown review at Bristol when there was, I think, 15 people in the Colston Hall at Bristol at the time. So he'd seen them, and he was the first music policeman I knew, because he collected Stax and Atlantic and Motown records, and if they ever charted, he used to throw them away. He hated it when any of those records got into the charts. So I was brought up with that, and then he went prog rocky, and he liked Yes and all them types of things. I followed behind him, loving the Motown stuff from the 60s and all the hits of the 60s. I was a big Beatles fan and all that sort of stuff. But then when I got to 12 and 13, and it was my own music, then of course it was Sweet, it was Slade, it was all them groups. But I'm a pop tart. I can't say anything other than that, because I look at my collection, and you'll find Gilbert O'Sullivan, you'll find Tina Charles, you'll find all of those pop stars. You won't find Donny Osmond, I can promise you that. But it was certainly an era that it was of its time for my age. I was born in 1960. I think Steve was born in 59, if I'm right. And both of us, when we went through school, and we hit the teenage years around the same sort of time. And so we liked the same kinds of music at the time. And there was so much out there. And it didn't sound as formulaic as it does now. Although I have to say, we were watching Graham Norton on the telly the other night, and the girl that was on there was I can't think of her name now. Deb's Shazammed it, and Somebody Where, and I thought she sounded great, but that was because her music harked back to the 80s. Deb's, OJ, you're both born 1958. We'll have the same sort of eras. You're a couple of years before me. However, having a dad who used to have reel-to-reel tapes of all the hits of the late 50s and the early 60s, that was where I really came from. I was that's where I really came from. We were there is good, Amy, you're right, there is good music still being made. It's finding it. The biggest problem that you have now is that the record companies are putting music out that's so formulaic that they all sound the same. We go in the shop. If we go in the shop and they're playing music, it all sounds the same. Most of the singers sound the same, and it's sad because there are still good bands out there. There are still good artists out there. The problem is you got to go hunting for them. And also, I'm obviously the wrong demographic for this age. I'm 65. I still like the stuff that I liked as a kid. I think my music, I've still got old stuff. I suppose I think of people like, I like the Teskey Brothers. This is a couple of years old. I thought they were great. Um, I've got Hayley Williams. I've got the Arctic Monkeys. I've got a few younger bands, but most of my music that I play is still from way back in the day. Days, but the Monkeys. I have a photo, Dave, of me on my 7th birthday, sitting on a wall with a little record player that I had, holding a copy of the LP Headquarters that I'd got for my 7th birthday. So yeah, I like the Monkeys. As a kid, I was definitely the right age when the Monkeys come on the telly. I was 6 years old and loved it. Just used to watch it all the time. So that was great for my era. I love the oldies from the 50s and the 60s. I have got tons of them. I had, by the time I was 11, I had 1,000 singles, 45s. And that was all records they were mostly fast records because coming from a fairground family, my dad and his mates, they all knew I was, as a little boy, that I liked music. So when they'd finished playing the records on the rides and they'd bought new ones to replace them, they used to give them to me. So when I was a little boy, I can remember being given things like Let's Twist Again and Runaway by Del Shannon and all those sorts of hits. Coasters, Charlie Brown. I had all of those on singles. And as I grew up, I was always buying singles. And these reel-to-reel tapes that my dad had, I set a goal of buying every single that was on these tapes, and I went and I bought all of them. I got everything that my dad had on the reel tapes and bought all of them as singles, and love them. I still do. Right, who's next? Good. I'm glad you like the Arctic Monkeys. I just want to. There's my Arctic Monkeys LP. I know it's backwards, but you know that's the one. Right. The Smiths. I like a couple of their records. What's the one I like? This Charming Man I like. I think it's great. I love The Cure. Love The Cure. Always did. I thought they were brilliant. Killers in the Back Room of a Pub in Leeds. Woo. Yes, Deb, you told me that. I can remember you telling me that. So we've got 7 minutes to go. It's great. I love the fact I've not heard I didn't even know they'd made a new album, to be honest with you, Dale. Tears for Fears are brilliant. They were brilliant. And I've got a story. I can't remember which one of it was, but I knew someone who went to school with them in Bath way back in the day. I think it was Kurt. And this fellow was telling me that all through school, Kurt paid no attention to anything in school. Wouldn't pay attention, was always looking out the windows, never did anything. And he'd get loads of detentions because he never paid attention. And they used to say to him, "Why don't you take any part?" And he went, "Because I'm going to be a pop star." How about that? He had it in his head and he was determined, even as a schoolboy, that he was going to be a pop star. And he was. Tears for Fears, brilliant. And that's Sowing the Seeds of Love. I can remember when that came out. My my eldest son would have been about 2.5, and MTV had just come out, and he used to come in front of the telly whenever that record come on, and he would sing "Sowing the Seeds of Love," but obviously not the words because he was like a baby, and he was like he knew some of the words, and he loved that. I can remember whenever it came on MTV, he'd rush over in front of the telly. So I've got a soft spot for that record because of that. Is fiddle music popular over here? Not really, no. Not that I know of, to be honest with you. I'm just diving in and having a look, seeing what everybody's saying. And I'm just trying to work out on here what famous people you've met who were really nice. Okay. Jim Davidson, I've got to say, is a very nice fella. I knew him. I met him in 1990 when he was in Torquay, and I used to have arcade machines in pubs and clubs down that way. And I met him. I knew his personal assistant, and Jim had a brown Porsche, and he lent it me one day, and I was running about around Torquay in his brown Porsche, and it was horrible. I got to say, didn't like Porsche. It's too close to the ground. But I know Jim Davidson, and I was in my brother's arcade mending the machine one night, and someone come and tapped me on the shoulder, as because I wasn't looking. I was looking in the back of a machine. Someone tapped him on the shoulder. I spun around, and it was Jim Davidson. He just pulled into Weymouth Harbour, and so yeah, I've met him. I thought he was a decent guy. The Stylistics we've met a few times. Got photos with them. We were invited backstage with them, and when they used to come on tour, we used to get free tickets. They used to send us tickets. So that was nice. Diana Dawes, the actress. When I was 13, my brother-in-law's dad had a set of Dodgems, and they were open at a little place just outside Windsor called Englefield Green. And I would have been about 11 or 12, I suppose. And Diana Dawes come on the ground, and she got in one of the Dodgem cars, and she was riding down the Dodgem cars. And because it was my brother-in-law's Dodgems, I could get on anytime I wanted. So I jumped on and went round the car and smashed her and knocked her all over the Dodgem track for the ride. And at the ride, when it finished, I ran up to her and went, "Excuse me, can I have your autograph, please?" And she was really nice, and she scribbled it on a bit of paper. I wish I had it today. And what she put on this paper was to James, who banged me 100 times, and I loved that. And I wish I still had it. It was just brilliant. What else we got here? I've seen the Nolan sisters undressed. When I was doing hospital radio. I spoke to Bradley Walsh came in on Carnival Day at Weymouth, and I was doing a show, and Bradley Walsh came in and I interviewed him on thing, and he said to me, I said to him, "Can you do a jingle for me?" And he went, "Do you want the Nolan sisters to do a jingle as well?" So so he said, "Meet me at the Pavilion," which was the theatre on the beach, and he said, "Meet me there on such and such a night, and we'll do them all together." So I went there, met them, and Bradley Walsh did a jingle. And he went, "Come on, we'll go and get the Nolans." And he knocked on the door, and we walked in, and they were all undressed, getting ready for the show. And it was like really embarrassing. And I had all of them stood around me singing this little jingle that they decided to do to "I'm in the Mood for Dancing." And they wanted to say hello to the radio station, and they were all in their underwear. And it was really quite funny, but I was embarrassed all the same. Johnny Ball, I bet he was a nice fella. Yeah, Diana Dawes. Diana Dawes was quite stunning. Although she was getting older by then, but she was a proper star. I've met Michael Elphick, who played Boone on the telly. And anyone who remembers Bodie and Doyle from The Professionals, I was open on a fairground at Hampstead Heath for Easter one year, and I was in my ride pay box, and Lewis Collins was on the edge of the ride watching the ride, and he was all in his motorbike gear, and he had this dolly bird with him who was really, really pretty. And I tried to get him on the ride, and he kept back in and doing that. And so I kind of insulted him a little bit over the mic, but it was good fun, and he took it in good fun. That was quite enjoyable. And that's about it. That's all of the ones that I've met, and that's a good thing to finish up on. I hope you've enjoyed this little meet-up. I love our meetups. What we should actually do is bring a beer or two so we can have a drink while we're doing it. Thank you so much, everybody. This has been great fun. We'll be doing it again next week. Don't forget, there's a video out tomorrow. And see ya next time. Thanks a lot, everybody. All the best.